Whoa.
What the? What? What's going on? Mike, wake up! I can't move. What's going on? Where are we?
The shit? I can't move either, man. What the hell? I don't recognize this place.
Me neither. What happened? How'd we get here?
I don't remember.
You hear something? What is that? What is that?
Yeah, what the hell?
Whoa.
Oh my god!
No! No!
Oh my god!
Well, boys, it looks like you're finally awake and I have your undivided attention. Now, have you seen any aliens recently?
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah, dude, we don't know anything about any freaking aliens or whatever.
No. Although, hey,
Wait a minute.
what about those guys over there?
That's true.
What? Over there? Wait a minute! Stop right there! Listen, boys. I've been doing this a lot longer than you. Those were aliens, but they were not committing any crimes.
Okay, so maybe those weren't the guys, but what about those guys over there?
Holy shit!
I am harmless from the next generation.
That's just what I wanted to hear. You're under arrest for the murder of Tasha Yar. Come with me, you sick! You're gonna do a lot of years for this, Thomas.
Like, all right, hey, Vince, see you later.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, hey, can you untie us?
Yeah, come on, man.
Vince!
Do us a favor here. Or, as Lace does every year, do us a flavor. Let's start over. Yeah. Yes, I'm like, yeah, you guys are subscribed, right? And people that aren't, I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. Okay. Do you think maybe I should move that? There seems to be like a lot of...
Yeah, I'm like in the center. Like, me weak. I'm a man! I'm 40!
Okay.
Had you seen that clip before?
What
in
is
that
it?
press conference? Where the coach was like, I'm a man! I'm 40!
No, that sounds hilarious.
Because, like, he was yelling at the media for asking the kids question, like the college kids. He's like,
Yeah.
those are boys. Talk to me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
I'm a man!
I'm 40. And now, so are we. So, we finally are here for Buddy Shotz, episode 113, Invasion Week. Or an Alien Week, I guess, part 2.
Yeah. Lucky number 113.
I know, right? Nothing could go wrong in this episode.
Feeling mean.
So, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm like, we only talk to each other during the entire week
Yeah.
and on Saturdays. Twice on Sundays. So, had you heard of, like, you'd heard of Annihilation because you said you had already seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was pumped for Annihilation back when it came out because I'd really liked the director's previous movie, Ex Machina. Which, did you ever see that?
I never heard of it. I've heard of Deus Ex Machina.
Alex Garland, his previous movie was Ex Machina with Oscar Isaac again.
Oh, nice.
And pretty much any time he comes out with a new movie, I'm pumped.
Nice.
So, yeah, I saw this back when it came out, and
He's like, fuck life.
I loved it.
Nice. So, you hadn't heard of Falling Skies, you said, though?
No,
for
although
the show.
when I started watching it, I remembered
You're
when
like,
this
wait
was
a minute.
on.
Yeah, you were like, wait a minute.
I'd never
I remember
watched
this.
it,
Right, yeah.
but I remember it was like in the early days of prestige TV. It was like, whoa, this is a show, but it looks like a
on
movie.
Like TBS or something. Even though it was actually like a full series, and unlike today where it's like mini series or whatever. But like, it reminds me of like, I remember like one of the big things that came out was like True Blood, and I never watched it, but I remember like always seeing like ads on TV for it and stuff. They're like, check out True Blood. And I was like, I don't think this is something I'd be interested in. Not to, I guess, slam True Blood out of nowhere, but that was the first thing that I thought of when I thought of like a show.
I watched the first 2 or 3 seasons.
Oh, really? It was like a show that came on and I just didn't see it, but I remember seeing, like you said, like at the time when it came on, like a bunch of like stuff about it. Like, you can't miss this. I'm like, So
the skies were falling because all the stars were in falling skies.
Not sure about that. Not to knock any of these people, but I don't know if I'd heard of any of these people, honestly.
Yeah.
But this was actually like a Steven Spielberg project, it looks like, because it says he executive produced, but that means he pretty much was like, I want to make this Falling Skies, and I'm just gonna like take a back seat while everybody else kind of like, I don't know. It says it was created by Robert Rodat. But that just means he probably came up with the idea.
Robert Rodat?
Rodat. Or like rodent.
Got him.
But he came up with the idea, and I'm sure like Steven heard about it. I was like, dude, we got to do this. So let's find out. Did they have to do this? So Falling Skies, if anybody doesn't know, we're about to tell you. So hold on. It's an American science fiction television series set in a post-apocalyptic era. So this starts off in like there is no like fighting. It's essentially like the aliens have already like taken over.
I really like that.
Yeah, I
like
liked it
the
too.
show hooked me like moment one. I was like, whoa.
The series stars Noah Wyle as Tom Mason, a former history professor who becomes the second in command of the 2nd Massachusetts Militia Regiment. They really drive home like Boston and stuff like this in this. Weirdly enough, though, like nobody has like a ridiculous Boston accent. No, which was like a huge plus for me.
Although there's one thing I did find ridiculous about this show.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll. But fleeing Boston following an alien invasion that devastated the world. This kind of reminded me of like when Walking Dead was still really good, like in the first couple of seasons of it being like that post-apocalyptic like life on the line kind of thing. And they drive home. This guy's like a history professor and or history teacher, and he still kind of like teaches to like the younger people in like that are survivors or whatever, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But,
that was the one thing I found ridiculous about this. This character, he's studied the history of warfare,
right?
Because he brings it up in every scene, and it reminded me of like an RPG character that one of us would create who has like one thing. And you try to shoehorn it in every scene, even though it's like not appropriate. Like, dude, we get it.
Even though it's probably the most appropriate because they're fighting guerrilla warfare all the time.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. It's just like he kept bringing it up over and over again. I'm like, dude, stop.
Well, I think it's also like one of those things where like, they have to like these soldiers have to be given like pep talks all the time by this guy. So, I guess he seems to like be doing that a lot, where he's like giving out pep talks and all this crap. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it
he's
worked.
like in 1492.
Yeah,
in Columbus,
they sailed the ocean
blue.
He sailed the ocean. I wonder what will be here in another 400 years. This is hopefully humans. I was like, okay, well, this is going along with what you said with the whole like history tying in and stuff. I understand like certain characters, they have to step up and stuff like that. Like, you know, if you're a history professor or teacher, that doesn't mean you can't be like a resistance fighter once the shit hits the fan. But it's a little bit more believable if they would have like given him something else for like, you find out on his like weekends he was like a weekend warrior where he went out and did like bushcraft or something, or like he did like camping, or maybe he was like he really liked shooting old firearms or something. So he went to the range a lot. Because you look at like Walking Dead, and like one of the main characters that kind of leads everything is like an ex-cop, like Rick. So he's been in like tight situations and stuff. So like it kind of makes sense that he knows how to use firearms. But in certain instances, like certain people become like, I don't know. I guess like you'd either like learn quick or you die. So I guess we'll see. Or I guess we did see. I thought like the father-older son relationship was actually not bad.
Yeah.
It was pretty good when he walks away and then he comes back for a hug. It was pretty... I thought that was kind of realistic.
Yeah.
Because it was like in any other circumstance, he probably would have just walked away. But it's one of those things where like they don't know if they'll ever see each other again. So it's like... They kind of like drive it home in the first couple minutes of this show that like with all these kids like talking about how like the aliens came and then like their parents died and they were left alone, and it's like it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, like when the very first narration was like the aliens came and people said that they could be good, but they weren't good.
Yeah, they didn't use nukes on them because they thought they'd be good.
This is scary, man.
Which that was the most like preposterous things of all. The fucking United States of America would not launch a nuke at a fucking alien. Come on.
Are you suggesting we blow up the moon?
Are you suggesting that they put people first for once? But at this part, it was the wrong decision. Who knows if a nuke even would have worked? I mean, I guess maybe in later seasons they do something happens.
If Independence Day taught us anything, it didn't. Well, I guess it did at the very end.
Yeah. Well, it's like they had shields, so it's like what? So they find a dead kid, because the whole thing about this is like they don't kill the kids, the aliens don't. They like put these things on them that make them like slaves.
Enslave them.
But at this point in the first episode, you don't know for what reason or for why, which is the same thing.
Why?
But
what's the reason?
And if they take it off, they like instantly die. So, they find I guess he has like a brother, like this family. There's like the father, the son, and the Holy Ghost. And the other brother. I couldn't tell if that one lady was supposed to be his wife or if it was supposed to be just some lady that liked him. Cause,
yeah, I thought it was like a friend.
Or like a girlfriend or something maybe. But like he has his two sons, or I guess his three sons, but one of them is like captured or gone. They don't know where he is. But then like the oldest brother finds him, and he's like essentially like a zombie. He's had the thing on him, and it's like they decide not to go after him, and they put the greater good above it. But then like they're gonna go back, and I was like, okay, that's actually kind of shockingly like showing restraint. Like, they didn't just straight up be like, okay, let's throw our lives away. Because all the people with them, like, the little kids were like... Because, like, they have, like, child soldiers, essentially. Because, like, who else... Like, they have to... Everybody has to, essentially, take up a gun.
It's desperate times.
Yeah, and they called for desperate measures. There's a skateboard contest, kind of, at the end. Where, like, the one guy's, like the hardened, like, general guy was, like, watching. And then the history professor's like, okay, time to go. And I was like, okay. I thought it was a good first episode. I thought it set it up pretty well.
I liked
they
it.
didn't really waste any time for this, which they got into some good action. They didn't like hold off on showing the aliens, or like the big mystery wasn't like, what are these gonna look like and stuff. Like they actually like showed everything off, and I'm sure there's more to come. I just thought it was nice that like. Also, I was glad that when I like booted up the episode, it was 44 minutes, so the pilot was a normal episode length. It wasn't like a mini movie.
I think this pilot understood the assignment.
Unlike Mr.
Like the things we normally criticize first episodes for, it did right. Or it didn't do.
Yeah. The things that we
The
normally
show
criticize.
made it 4 seasons, so...
Yeah,
Congrats.
I'm kind of interested to see... I might, like, pick it up and keep watching at some point, like... because it seems like definitely something, like, it's going to be an undertaking to watch and stuff, as far as, like, just kind of... But I think that, like, definitely it looks like a show that would be interesting because of the sci-fi aspect, and it's essentially like War of the Worlds, but more like the humans like are fighting back instead of like people running away the whole time.
Yeah.
So, kind of like half Walking Dead, half like alien stuff. So interesting.
Yeah, it was good. Good choice.
Wonderful. like I said, I'm probably gonna watch it again at some point, but I'm not sure if it'll be like this week or like whenever. But we'll see. Yeah. So good grief, excuse me. I guess let's get on to the feature presentation of Annihilation, which also continues with the theme of aliens, or maybe not aliens, maybe like dimensional beings, maybe who knows. But either way,
ask George Lucas
about that one. It is an invasion week. So I just got that.
This movie annihilated me.
Annihilated my bowels. So this came out in 2018. Science fiction, psychological horror. I'd say this is more like a cosmic horror kind of deal too. Film written and directed by Alex Garland, as you said. It's based on the 2014 novel of the same name by Jeff Vandermeer, which we'll get into kind of like that and stuff, I think, after we talk about the movie.
Okay. I was just my only okay. My only thought was I really want to read this book. I bet it's awesome. Just because this movie is so full of ideas. I can only imagine how good the book is. I think the book
is like 100 times better because when I was like read up on it and stuff, it seems like it's more of a constant thing and instead of just a one-off, which this seems to be.
Not sure what you mean by that. But I guess we'll get into it.
Not just kidding.
A one-off.
Like as far as it seems like it's kind of like, I guess we'll get into it once we get to the end of the movie or whatever. So like stars Natalie Portman and Jennifer Jason Lee and Gina Rodriguez. No, I'm not going to keep saying it. Hey. Tessa Thompson, Tuvi Nowathi, Oscar Isaac, of course. He kind of plays like a small role, but he's in like as far as screen time. So
his first name is appropriate because he's Oscar worthy
for Poe Dameron, right? The story follows a group of explorers who enter the Shimmer, a mysterious quarantine zone of mutating plants and animals caused by an alien presence. So yeah, like Oscar Isaac, what was it? It's funny because I almost equate the amount of time he was in this movie to like the amount of time he was kind of in Dune. Like he was in kind of a smaller role, but it was a pivotal role nonetheless. I feel like. Annihilation was released theatrically in the United States in 2018, like we said. So this movie, it looks like it did pretty well. I mean, it grossed like $43 million worldwide, which is, I think, like any amount of money. I don't know what their budget was, but I'm sure almost all of it went into special effects because a lot of it's walking around and stuff. But they don't have like what's it called? Like, there's not like ridiculous people like flipping backwards and doing all kinds of like what's it called? Like stuff like you
gun
would
kata.
See yeah, like stuff you would see in like Universal Soldier or whatever. When did you first see this? Did you see it right when it came out? You said, or in theaters?
Not in theaters.
Not in theaters.
Yeah. Once it came to home video.
You saw it on VHS.
It had a budget of $40 million.
Okay, so it made like $3 million.
Which means it probably lost money because
because they had to pay because of all the
marketing.
Yeah, that kind of sucks though because like I thought this movie was really good.
Me too. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah. So,
how'd you?
Okay.
What was your history like? Do you remember when this came out, or is it just something you wanted to see, or?
This movie didn't.
Why'd you pick it?
This movie didn't seem to have a lot of marketing, or maybe it did, and I just
remember seeing the trailer and I was pumped. Like I said, because Alex Garland is
it kind of like I think it came out, but it also kind of flew under the radar to a bit too. Yeah. But I think like
it was 2018. We were thinking about that pandemic that was right around.
Right? Yeah, we were thinking about something that hadn't happened yet. And it wouldn't for 2 years or so. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this might be one of those things where like. Because it's weird, because, like, this is also, like, one of those deals where, like, Avatar, where, like, a lot of people I know have apparently seen it, but, like, no one has ever talked about it to me. Like, we've never discussed it, and, like, like, when I posted that, a lot of people liked it and was like, this movie's great, and I was like, it's kind of weird that, like, no one's ever talked about it. It's kind of like the Avatar thing where people were like, yeah, I saw it, and it was great, but...
Well, this episode's going to change all
never speak about it again.
This movie's going to blow up.
Yeah.
after Buddy Shots highlights it.
The movie's gonna blow, like retroactively somehow. So there's like a big thing in this movie with like missing time.
Yeah.
Kind of harkens back to like alien abductions and stuff like that. It seems like, because people have a lot of like instances in this movie where like they just don't remember, like long stretches of time happen, and like it's not just one person, it's like everybody. So perception is being like definitely like warped. And it's also suggested that like people that go into it become like unhinged. Like they kind of have issues with maybe not seeing things that aren't there, but also things happen to them that normally wouldn't happen. Like the, you know, like scenes where like, you know, if it was just being filmed, if it was being filmed where like the dude gets cut open and like his fucking intestines are moving, like if they weren't filming it and like it just, they just saw it, you could think that maybe that was just like something that happened, like they not happened, but like they perceived it to happen. But if it's caught on video, you would assume that they would, you know, it actually happened. But you never know, because it's also one of those things where like perception is such messed up that it's like, if they saw that, would they still see the same thing? You know, so it's pretty ridiculous.
I thought it was very cool.
Yeah.
It's an interesting premise because basically anything can happen when the force of the shimmer basically alters all your DNA.
Right.
And, like mutates everything, including like your mind.
Right. For sure.
And I think this movie's pretty scary. It's a scary idea. It's like the lost time and stuff makes it feel like a nightmare almost. Yeah. Even when at the beginning when Oscar Isaac comes back, when you think that he's been like dead or missing, but you can tell like he's come back, but it's not really him. Something has changed.
Right, like either like something happened to him while he was in there, or I mean you kind of find out later that possibly it's not even him, or you know what's going on.
But that's just a scary idea that like someone, a loved one, would come back from the dead essentially. Yeah. And you're like, yay, but then wait a minute. Yeah. It's not really them.
Yeah. Because you don't know. So Queen Amidala and Poe Dameron are married.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'm glad you did. I will say I wish they were making more movies like this instead of the Thor 3 or whatever, you know, Natalie Portman was in, and whatever Oscar Isaac Marvel stuff he's in.
Yeah, I don't think he's in any. Is he in any Marvel stuff?
He's in something. Maybe one of the shows. But one thing I wanted to ask you is Oscar Isaac plays Kane. Do you think he's Jericho Kane's son?
I think he's related to The Undertaker.
This is in the End of Days cinematic universe. That's all I got.
I'm like...
Or maybe it's his brother.
Could be. There's only been like 3 people ever named Kane.
Yeah.
Jericho Kane, Kane the wrestler, and the guy that killed his brother in the Bible, right?
And Kano from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Kane O. Kane O. Maybe that's he was named by the devil. He's like Kane.
Oh. Sorry for derailing.
I'm like, what? What the fuck are you doing, man? But like you said, when Oscar Isaac comes back, he starts like coughing up blood and shit, and they take him to like the hospital.
Yeah, he gone.
And he gets like taken to this like mysterious Area X word, which is it's obviously it's like a Area 51 thing, but it's like I kind of akin this whole thing to like the SCP Foundation or something, where it was like all weird stuff that like they set up right next to like this shimmer area or whatever, which like they call it that, like, you know, obviously like after the fact and all that stuff, but it's like essentially like where this thing landed and kind of became an area that's being corrupted or like changed by
and it's also expanding.
Yes.
And I think it's such a cool and realistic touch that basically they've been studying it for what, months or years, many months at this point, and like they are stuck. Like, they're screwed. Yeah. They know nothing. They figured out nothing. Nothing's working. Like, basically, there's no plan at this point. Which, when something this weird happens, sometimes they're not prepared.
Yeah. Well, it's also, this is unlike anything else that I think they could really, like... Because it's not like you can get information about it, because anything you send in can't come back. So how the fuck does that work? They're
like, and I love how they're like, well, mainly we've sent like military type men in, and we're just gonna try women this time and hope for. It's like they're in trouble,
right? Yeah, it's just kind of like they're throwing people at it to see if maybe each different group will be able to kind of like curtail it, or like
at least
make
find a
contact with the thing that started it, or like or whatever's going on. Because at that point, until like things, the events happen at the end of the movie, they don't really know that there's even like an alien or a force in there. They just are like, well, what the hell is this? This could just be like something landed here and it's just been happening. They don't even know that something landed there. They're just like, this shit's been going down, and they do show like the thing kind of thing at the beginning of the movie where like this fucking asteroid comes in and like from like space and like hits a lighthouse, and it's like
any movie that starts with like something coming to Earth from space is like an A+. Like, I know I'm gonna love it. Predator, The Thing, others.
I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but obviously there's a ton out there. So they also have like a guitar, like a folksy guitar thing that kind of like shows up in this movie for like the soundtrack on certain instances. It's kind of interesting, but it's also kind of more like akin to like watching like maybe like an old Bigfoot movie or something. Like Boggy Creek or something. It's very weird.
Yeah, the score didn't really stick out to me until the end, when it gets like very strange and like kind of
it's more so just
scary.
Like when you look up the soundtrack online, that's the only thing that even shows up. I mean, I think there's more, but like literally it's just it's less of a score and more of a like trying to make you feel like
mood.
Unnerved or whatever. He said trying to make you feel nude. Hell yeah, dude.
A mood.
I want to feel nude though. My mood is nude. I
also love any movie where it's like basically a men on a mission movie, or in this case, women on a mission. Like, they don't know what they're going to find out, but we're going to go on an adventure. And like, I love stuff like that. It's a great adventure movie.
What'd you think about the Razor Gator here?
It was cool.
It only takes a minute. Have you seen that commercial?
No.
Rejuvenate my Razor Gator.
Only takes a minute to rejuvenate my razor with my Razor Gator. Razor Gator. Shaving close and smooth as I reuse my razors using Razor Gator. Razor Gator. Rinse, scrape, sweep. It's so neat. Keep it clean. Scrape, sweep, wipe. It's alright. Razor Gator.
Okay, a little bit of technical difficulties there. I forgot to switch up the battery. Like a
Or did you?
Idiot. So yeah, we've got the gator scene here.
It was awesome.
I have it.
When you said Razor Gator, I thought you were going to reference Strange Wilderness. It's razor sharp teeth for sharp as razors.
I've seen that movie like the one time, and it was funny.
Highly recommended. Recommendation Nation.
Yeah. Well, so we're bringing that bullshit back.
Another thing about this movie is it's one of the best looking movies ever. Like, if you want to showcase your 4K system, this movie looks beautiful, because it's like the very dark and black, but also at times it's like super colorful, and it's just like it's a work of art.
I mean, it helps that there's a lot of color in this movie.
Yeah, it's very colorful.
Flowers and stuff.
Basically, the shimmer kind of creates a rainbow effect, or like an oil slick effect.
It kind of like retakes the wilderness and stuff like that, and all that.
Yeah, looks great.
So we kind of talked about like the thing where like they see the dudes like fucking intestines moving around because they like cut open his stomach, but like they find this memory card and like play it. And
also, the way Oscar Isaac
on the thing.
Yeah, the way he reacts to that is like very creepy.
He's like,
he kind of is. He's like, check this out.
He's like,
and I was like, I would be like dead.
He's
if
like
I
coming
saw
attractions. But it's essentially like somebody there like volunteers to essentially like get their stomach cut open so that they can like record it and show for people that come after them, like, okay, check this shit out, like what's happening or whatever. And yeah, they do see it.
Were you scared?
Not really. I thought it was gross, but not to the point of like being sick to my stomach or anything. I thought it was just like, whoa, this isn't unnatural. There was really only one thing in this movie that was like kind of scary to me, like as far as like, you know, more so like unnerving, I guess. So, and we'll get to that, I guess. And then somebody gets killed by a bear. They get taken out. And then it's kind of like down to a couple people because it's like the one person's like, we got to go after them. We got to find out where they are. And like Natalie Portman's like, well, if we go to like the ocean, you know, that's where they are. Or like she pretty much lies to them and stuff. And, you know, to try to get them to just be like, this person's screwed. Like they are done because they find the body later anyway. And it's like, it's like gray or green. It's like, oh. You also find out there's like a couple people on this have like things like essentially like they're volunteering for suicide missions and stuff that they know that like they're not coming back. Like the old lady that's like their like leader essentially, but like Natalie Portman becomes pretty much the leader, but like the old lady is like, she's not like an old lady, but she's like the oldest, you know, person there, but she has like cancer or whatever, so she knows that like she's not coming back. Or she's resigned to the fact that she doesn't care if she comes back because she's going to die anyway.
I thought she was great, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, who's in so much stuff, but she's always good.
Yeah.
What do you think of Natalie Portman in this movie?
Yeah, she was good.
Yeah. Does a great job of leading the ensemble.
Some of the other people I'd like never heard of before, but that doesn't mean that like, you know, they weren't, you know, fine and everything. So it's definitely more like kind of like The Thing where it's like an ensemble cast, even though that like there are people in this that are like, you know, like Natalie Portman is like obviously like the most well known, at least to me, probably most people I would assume too. Like it's kind of like The Thing where like John Carpenter like directed a cast of like huge people, and like, you know, we had a bunch of people in there that were big and stuff. People that are like were less well known, but like they were like, you know, more well known stars and stuff. So, I have a note here that says one lady got brutally murdered.
That did happen.
Yeah. Cheating on husband. She's cheating on his wife. So like, I guess they like because they keep cutting in like these like before Natalie Portman is in this area, like going back to like, I guess like this is what happened before, and
a flashback.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't remember what the fuck it was even called. I'm fucked. I need to flash back to when my brain works. And she, you know, there's parts where she's like with, you know, her husband and all this other stuff, and then they like flash back and she's with like the dude at the beginning of the movie that she talks to, where like he's like, you need to come over and hang out with me and my wife, we're having to get together for a bunch of people. And you find out that like she had an affair, well, he had an affair with his wife because they were still together, and she like got with this dude, and at this point they're not exactly, well, no, they do say that, like, she does say that he knows, but at that point I didn't know if he was actually still around or if like she was just lying to the guy to get him to like stop you know, like not messing with her. She's like, come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like stuff like that in this movie where like you're not exactly sure who's telling the truth, who's lying, and who's like, you know, what is even the truth and
Yeah,
stuff. So
I like that.
But as far as this goes, it was kind of like, regardless, like, that one dude was like cheating on his wife or whatever, and he's like, I love my wife. I was like, why are you cheating on your wife? And he's like, I'm doing it. He's like, watch me. I'll do it.
Hey, it could happen.
It will. It did happen. Gotcha. So yeah, that was a scene that happened. So then we get to the tied up and nowhere to go scene. Everybody wakes up and they're like, tied up by the one lady that was like, I guess she seemed like she was kind of like really liked the one lady that got like dragged away or whatever. And so she's kind of freaking out and shit, and she's like, when I look at my fingerprints, I see them moving, and she's essentially like got it worse than a lot of other people, it seems like, at least.
She's losing it, man.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, it's one of those things where like there's a part later on where like stuff happens to like one lady, but she never really talked about it, and then she just kind of walks off into the wilderness and disappears, and it's like,
I'm gonna go die now.
Yeah. So,
this scene is for me like the centerpiece of the movie. I think it's one of the scariest things I've ever seen in a movie. It's so well done and like intense. And I'd seen this a couple times before, but I realized like after the scene was over that I wasn't breathing. I was like,
so you're dead now, huh?
It was great. I love it.
Are you a ghost? Yeah. I
mean, this more than anything else is the thing I remember about this movie is the bear scene,
right?
Where basically they're menaced by this weird bear creature.
Yeah, it's essentially like a cryptid creature that like can mimic like people's voices. And, like lure them out to like kill them and shit.
The lady it killed, it like her fear became part of the creature, and you hear like her screams coming out of its mouth, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, essentially it can just replicate anybody that it hears, it seems like, because like it killed earlier in the movie the one lady, and then it like is like, hey guys, I'm here, but it sounds like unnatural, and she's like, holy shit, she's still alive, you lied to me, and then she like runs outside, and you hear like attacking going on, and then the bear or like the thing comes in, because it's in the shape of a bear to a degree, but like it's missing, it has a head, but it's like a skull head, and like when it opens its mouth, it doesn't necessarily growl, it lets out like the voice of somebody.
That's super creepy and well done.
So like essentially like this is the kind of thing that like I feel like horror movies like would die for to have in their movie. Yeah. Because like this is like the kind of stuff that actually would scare somebody, not like somebody chopping people up or whatever. Like, okay, whatever.
And it's not a jump scare like you hate so much. It's a real scare.
Yeah.
It's a scream.
It makes you think.
Yeah, I just think it's really cool. Some of the CGI is a little dodgy, but I'll let it slide. So watch yourself, counselor. But I like this bear attack scene better than The Revenant.
Like the entire movie, I guess.
I like to make fun of The Revenant. I actually think that's a good movie, but it's just ironic that it's like one of Leonardo's worst performances.
Oh, really?
That he won an Oscar for. But
Matt hates
great
The
scene.
Matt loves this, but he hates The Revenant.
I don't. I like the movie.
You don't have anything
but I
against
like
The Revenant.
Annihilation
I've just never
better.
seen it. I just remember it got an Oscar that one time.
You don't need to see it. I'll show you the whole movie. Here's Leonardo. He's just in horrible agony.
You do that every time when you make fun of The Revenant.
Funny.
So people are just getting reamed left and right here. This is essentially like the thing. The movie. People are just like going off, getting killed. People are just leaving the group. They're just going missing.
People are getting reamed.
You know, the old lady leaves. She just like walks off and is like, fuck it, I'm old. And I'm like, well, there she goes.
She's relatively old.
Yeah, she's not like a crone.
You're
or
acting
anything.
like she's an old hag.
I'm just saying she's old. She's older than everyone else by like miles. She might also look old because maybe, I don't know what kind of cancer she has. Maybe she has like skin cancer or something. Who knows? So I guess no.
I'm not going to sanction any of this buffoonery.
Well, what? She is old compared to everyone else in this movie.
Relatively, yeah.
Right.
I say she's middle-aged. And she's aged like a fine wine.
I don't know about that.
Jesus! Good Lord. To change the subject, there's just really cool touches. Like, I thought it was really cool that the plants started imitating people.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure what was going on with that. I thought that was really interesting, too.
Yeah, and like, one of the dudes who died on the previous mission, his body like turned into a huge mushroom and like was growing on the wall.
He was like, "Wait, I guess you don't smoke mushrooms. You eat them."
You're like a guy that pretended he did drugs. Like, man, I smoked all these mushrooms. Man.
I'm fucking so high.
I had 18 of them.
But yeah, like for sure, dude. Like
it just looked so cool and like it's unique. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was like, and it was almost one of those things where it was like when she went off, like did she become like a fucking tree or a plant or something? Like when she died, because she she walks off into like just literally around the corner and then she's just gone. Like people just don't disappear like that. So I was like, okay, she probably turned in one of those bushes. Because she was growing shit out of her arms or whatever when she was walking away. I thought that was pretty weird. Pretty weird.
Yep.
What do you think is like the weirdest way to die in this movie? Like that you would think?
Probably to have your intestines turned into snakes.
But like if that didn't kill you, I mean. I guess it would kill you because their friend would cut you open and film it and be like, check this shit out.
Pretty cool. Hey, dude.
Go see me in Dune, bro.
Like, I'm Oscar Isaac. Welcome to Jackass.
He's like, check this shit out. I'm in fucking Dune, baby. And I'm like,
You think in the next Jackass they'll cut their stomachs open? Now that would be extreme.
Still haven't seen the last Jackass.
What are you waiting for? It's great. It has Dark Shark in it.
Yeah, they have a dude named Poopy in it. I'm not really down for that. I was also kind of I felt bad, I guess, because like they didn't have the whole crew together.
Yeah.
So we got crystals and crystal trees. I was like,
very cool looking. It's like this is the cover of a metal album, or like a fantasy novel.
Right. So once again, we have like another thing where like there's like a video recorder set up, and like the person that came back with her was like her husband, maybe, or what that came back was her husband, or was it? Because it's like the person that gets blown up is like, okay, well, I thought I was a person. Maybe I'm not. Maybe none of us are. And then it like dies, or it like holds a grenade and like fucking thermal grenade and like burns to death. And then like the person that's filming that goes out from the camera is like him, and it's like.
So the Shimmer has the ability to basically like create duplicates,
right? Because like when she finally like goes down in this hole or whatever, she sees like, what's her face like is there, but I don't even know if it's her or if it's like a copy of her. Because then she like turns into gold dust and like dies. The wrestler. Then like a floating techno ball appears and like it becomes like it takes like a thing of her blood and becomes like this like liquid metal thing.
It's Metal Mario basically.
Yeah.
This was my one complaint about this movie is I thought the ending was a bit of a letdown.
You're like, I was a big Wingcap fan.
It wasn't Pilot Wings.
Yeah.
I just thought like that the like monster or whatever the dark person was like very video gamey, and like the weird thing that she finds is like a nice CGI like demo. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of a bit of a letdown for me when the rest of the movie was so creative.
I thought that like that's why I said like earlier that like this movie kind of seems like compared to the book like it's a one-off, even though they're like at the end there are they both seem like they have like this thing about them where maybe they've been transformed, or maybe they are the Shimmer people.
Right.
But, like, the area is, like, destroyed, it seems like, because they, like, burn it and then it, like, goes away. And I was kind of like, it seemed like very finite, and in the books it's like that's not what happens at all. So like you said with like the Shimmer person too, like or whatever that is, it seemed very kind of like they wanted to like do a definitive, let's defeat this like enemy kind of thing, which it didn't start out like that. It started out where it was going to be like
a quest for knowledge.
Well, no, like even that, like when she first encounters like that thing, she can't do anything to it, and it literally just pushes her up against the door until she like passes out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I was like, dude, this is pretty horrifying. Like, she can't leave. She's like stuck here. This thing like is almost like a child, but like it's so much more powerful than her, and she can't do anything to it. But then they like went the route of like it turns into her, and then like she grabs the grenade, or it makes it hold the grenade, and it like isn't affected by it. Kind of, it's like burning, but then it like goes down into its hole and like burns like the whole place down. And I was like, that just seemed very like
how convenient.
Yeah, exactly. Like Deus Ex Machina, where it's like just something happened to kind of like in the movie when like
I'm gonna go in the movie now, you won.
Well, they kind of like made like the mistake of like letting you know like at the beginning that like this person had come back out, so it was like I mean I guess that could have worked, but like, you know, the way that they did it, it like for me, like you said, like that's what I completely agree with, where it's like
it was just like, I've seen this before, you know?
Well, especially when the whole movie had so many, like, interesting things about it. And it was, like, more so, like, not even, like, the adventure thing. It was more so, like, horrifying and kind of unnerving and stuff to see all this stuff. But then to just have, like, a super generic ending was kind of a little shit.
But there is a very nice touch in the final shot where...
They're like...
the nice touch.
Matt, I have the nice touch.
Her eyes change color.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa! And it totally redeemed itself. But I thought that was cool. It was very subtle.
Yeah, I thought
you could miss it easily.
I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Really?
Just because of the way that, like, I mean, once he said, like, he, like, talked and said who he was, like, or not said who he was, but he's like, I don't think that I'm, like, I don't know, like, let's see, what do they say at the end? Like, she's like, you aren't like my husband, are you? Like, you aren't Kane. And they're like, I don't think so. And then he says, are you Lena? And then that's when they embrace. And I was just like, I knew that they were going to both be like, essentially, it's either they're aliens at this point or like Shimmer people, or they're like, they've been transformed to the point where they're not who they were before. So, did you want to hear more about the book, or do you want to wait on your own and read it?
I kind of want to wait, because I really want to read the book. I'm guessing it's great.
Then I guess we'll not say anything about it. I was going to talk about it to the audience to see what the differences were, but...
I'll just be like, la la la.
Essentially, yeah, there's just so many more different things, and like when I was reading up on the book, like I'm not going to say anything about it, but it just seems more like... Obviously, like, in the book, the person's writing it, so they have, like, a plan of what they're doing. And, like, I guess if it's based on the book, there was a plan already. But, like, it just seemed... It seemed more like something I think that, like, especially you would like, too, as far as adventure goes. Because there's just more... You know... It seems like it's been going on for a lot longer, too. And it's not like this, where it's, like, essentially, like... Well, this is a one-off because we killed off we like essentially nuked the cool area or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, there might be like these like changed people, but like unless they're actually like Shimmer people, like what are they gonna go around like, you know, what if they're not changed? If they're just like Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaac and they're like their DNA's changed, like okay, but if there are Shimmer people, maybe they'll go out and start, you know, transforming people, but who knows?
I'll have to find out in Annihilation 2.
Yeah. Do you think that'll ever happen?
The return of Durant.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen like cause since they have like multiple books in this series.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. Nice. It would be nice to see them doing more stuff, I guess, with this idea. But like you said, they kind of like definitively they blew that area up like a fucking video game boss.
Mm-hmm. They defeated the last level.
What's her name? The older lady. I want to give an apology to her.
Jennifer Jason Leigh. She's great.
She's not older. She's just not as young as those people. And
should I give you a shovel so you could keep digging deeper? Your hole deeper.
I'm like, can you give me a Revenant impression here again for my? So, I guess my last notes on this is like I really like cosmic horror, like Lovecraft stuff. The thing, the ending and the interaction. The interaction with the alien and like the bear and stuff never felt like relatable or safe. Like felt like I was uneased until it got to the point where like we were talked about. So it was very like I think that was the thing that was like that's probably like the greatest thing about this movie is like it doesn't feel like there are things that are similar but they're not. Like you see like an alligator but it's like all white and inside it's got like flowers and then like its teeth are like. And then you see, like, the deer, but, like, they're uncanny as well. And then, like, the bear, that's a bear, but it can, like, speak human or whatever. So, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you haven't seen this movie and you're a fan of sci-fi, horror, or adventure, this is a must-see. Yeah,
especially, like, if you're a fan of, like, my only complaint about this is, like, this kind of idea, like with like this area X or whatever that they have, the shimmer, is like rife for like an expanded like kind of like with the books and stuff, like to see just like what goes on there, kind of like that kind of a deal. Because I think they did a good job of it, but it would just be nice to, I don't know.
The possibilities are endless.
Exactly, yeah. So. Once again, you're able to like simplify what I'm trying to say because I'm like, where am I?
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
Nice. Damn, you can't agree more. I love it.
So, if you had to give this movie a rating, and you do per law, what would it be?
Either give it a rating or go
to hell.
Or the Buddy Bobbies are going to take you to jail.
Nice.
I was starting to think. I was like, okay, I don't know. It's like so. I started off thinking like maybe I'll give this movie a 9.95. And I think that like this is definitely like a recommended watch for me for sure, like a 9.95 watch. But like after talking about it, I think like I might have to go like either like an 8.95 just for the ending or whatever. Just because we talked about it again and it kind of stuck out that it was like the way that they, like you said, they went the route of like a, traditional wrapping everything up and not really leaving anything else for the future kind of thing, which is, it's what it is. Because, at the end of the day, they did it anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to go 8.95 as well.
Nice. I mean, we talked the shit out of this movie, or talked it up. You were giving it so much praise and, stuff like that.
It was great.
So was I. So I have
a fun ride.
but good stuff to say about it. It's just, like a lot of movies, it seems like sometimes when it's like a really, really good movie, sometimes like the ending, they just can't stick the landing. And I don't know why that was. Like, I don't know if they just thought that it would be a better idea to go that route, but, you know, they fucked up. So, the rest of the movie, though, good stuff, guys. You did a good job. All the actors, all the writers, but not the director. Like, the writers, like, wrote it, and he's like, I'm going to direct it, and they're like, you fucked it up. So, yeah. Do you have anything else to say about this and Natalie Portman?
I think we covered it.
Yeah, I think so, too. It's time for another din-din. So, what about next week, though?
So we're finally going to pull the trigger on Bruiser.
On Bruno.
So this is a movie we saw over 20 years ago.
Jesus.
And
this
did not like...
Yeah, we were going through like John Romero.
John Romero. He made us our bitch.
Yeah. I was like, wow. Yeah, George Romero, the master of the macabre.
Yeah, I'm hoping that
when we were watching,
we reevaluate it and it's good, but I don't know.
Yeah. It could be like Vertical Limit.
Yeah.
Where we watch it again, it could be like dog shit.
I do know that we both have like grown to admire George Romero and his work a lot more since then. So maybe it'll be interesting to find out. Yeah,
because when we first watched this, we rented it, I think, from Blockbuster, or maybe you had bought the DVD
tape
or something.
Yeah, I think we rented the tape.
And
tells you how old
we were like, because we watched like Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, and all of his other great, like, well, I guess those are the ones that I can think of.
Don't forget Monkey Shines.
So we had watched him, and we were like, man, who knows, this might be great too. And we watched it.
It was like his new movie at that point.
Yes, exactly. And we watched it, and we were like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. But we were also much dumber than
I essentially don't really remember much about it.
Me neither, to be honest.
But I guess we'll see.
Except I remember Peter Stormare hangs hog. So
I don't even know who the fuck
ready.
that is.
He's the dude. You've seen him in a million things before.
Yeah.
He's the dude from Tim and Eric who's like, I hope you're enjoying your Cinco Ball.
Oh, dude, nice. Okay, he played like the devil in like I think like Constantine or whatever.
He's really good.
So what about Weird Watches?
For Weird Watches,
you like Bruiser. Oh my god.
No real connection this week, but it's a failed sitcom from the 90s called Buddies, starring Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
You're like, nope.
I'm like, try again.
Next.
Jesus.
So Bruiser
and
Buddies.
How much of an asshole would I be if like literally you were like, these are my picks, and I'm like, we're not doing this. You'd be like, thanks.
You have veto power.
Yeah. Yeah, Don Vito.
Like, I'm tired of your movie games.
Tired of these buddy games, dude. So yeah, Buddies. Interesting. Like, when did this come out?
So this, I guess there was an episode of Home Improvement where
oh my god, okay.
They're watching a show.
I've heard of this before, yeah.
And it's Dave Chappelle and Jim Brewer.
Yeah.
And like the clip of that show got so much buzz that ABC decided to make it its own sitcom.
I heard about this
so it's
like
a backdoor spinoff of Home Improvement.
Yeah, it was like this, but then they like replaced some people and like for no reason. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about next week because we're both like, oh man, Buddies should went like 9 seasons. The Bruiser's the greatest movie ever. Next.
So it'll be interesting.
I feel like this week like there wasn't as much to talk about because like we both like both things. So, but we talked about it and you listened and you watched. Okay, man, another great episode.
Yeah, it was fun.
Cool. Well,
all right. I can barely stand the wait until next week.
I know, man. It's going to be great.
All right. Bye. See you.
See you, man. Holy crap. You were the bear the whole time?
It was fun talking about Annihilation. I'll see you next week.
I'm a man! I'm a man! I'm a man! Not true! Makes me want to